risk anything to where it could prevent him from ever playing again.
Ted has had kind of an interesting ride here. Things didn't work out the way he wanted with getting injured coming into last season. And then I think he had said last year he would prefer to play on the right side versus the left or something like that. So how has he handled all of the kind of tumult throughout his year and a half here?
Ted doesn't say much. He handles everything like a pro. Had a good conversation with him before we started the spring as far as how I saw his role and really why we were really giving Jesse the right guard job, and without him being able to compete for it. He's a competitor. He wanted to compete for the spot, that's fair. I understand that, especially going into your ninth season. And he did a great job of stepping in with that second group, playing multiple positions, both sides and center. And, now it's kind of come about to where he's got to step in and be a starter for us. And, it feels good to be able to at least have a guy that's started 76 games, including playoffs, over his career. And that's a positive for us.
So you sat him down and basically told him, we're giving this job to Jesse, a much younger guy. He was good with it, or?
He just wanted to compete for it, but,
right.
Ted's a pro. Like, not everybody's going to throw a temper tantrum. Like, a lot of guys understand what this business is, and they go about it right, things work out.
Adam, with Travis Swanson, he's played guard in Detroit before. Your comfort level with him at guard if he has to play guard at some point?
I mean, I'm going to trust Jeremiah on anything that has to do with moving the line around. So that's where he's the expert at. I don't try to act like I know more than I do. So he has a good plan is going into this game, and we've had all week to prepare for it.
Feel good about Ted playing left guard for the long haul, or do you anticipate looking outside for more help?
No, we're not going to be looking anywhere. I like our group.
Is Brock the backup quarterback again this week?
We'll find out.
You don't know?
Adam, with Josh Sitton, I know that he had developed a good relationship with Laramie. What happens with Laramie as far as his, do you break in a new guard? I know he played with Ted a little bit, I guess.
So, I mean, that's kind of the benefit of, Ted's been here. Those guys have played next to each other and they've practiced together. And I think Josh was a very positive influence on Laramie. Those two guys worked well together, and I think this will be a good transition for us, a smooth transition, because Ted is a good communicator, and he can pick up kind of where Josh left off, and Josh is going to be around. He's going to try to help our guys as much as possible when he's available to do so. I know he's going to have a procedure at some point, so we'll probably lose him for a few days, but he's not going to go far. We still have him under contract for another year. We anticipate him coming back next year, so we like the fact that he's going to be around.
It's obviously tough to lose any player. Is it especially tough with Josh? There were such big plans for him. He's such a key part of what you were doing.
I think anytime you lose a guy that's been all in, it's tough for not only coaching staff, players, everybody really involved in the organization. And really, at the end of the day, you look at it for that guy, because, all of us might be doing our jobs for a long time until we're 50, 60, 70 years old, where these guys have a very short window, and they lose a season. That's a lot of years, really, for a normal job. So, he's put so much into this year, and he put so much into what we were doing as a team that, I probably feel worse for him than I do for us.
Has he made a contribution already? Do you feel like you've seen some of what you wanted as far as the benefit maybe to Laramie?
Yeah, I see just his attitude and the way that his presence kind of helped that O-line room. I think him and Kilgore have done a great job of coming in there and kind of, being two new faces and becoming leaders. Josh is a leader in his own way. He's not much of a talker, but, when he speaks, guys listen. And I think him and Laramie developed a really good relationship. I think he was a positive influence on him, and I think he will be moving forward. And there's something about him. You're around him long enough, you kind of you notice he's got a little quiet swagger about him.
How did Devontae get through the week of practice, and is he still on track to play Sunday?
I thought he did a good job with what we asked him to do. Got him in some live team reps, and he's running well. He's catching the ball well. Seems like he's not having any issues catching the ball. So, we'll have our discussions here in the next 2 days to figure out how we really go about it from here.
Adam, you were kind enough to tell us last week that it was Clyde who came up with the idea of moving Jakeem outside. The decision to have Kenyon and Frank open Sunday, was that your idea, something you had planned, or how did that come up?
I think that was just one of those things that we've really been planning for since we signed Frank. That's nothing revolutionary. It's just getting good players on the field. That's all we're trying to do.
And the one other thing on that general topic, the decision you made in mid-August to move Bobby outside, obviously it's something that had been done before. It was done in the spring, it was done last year. Was that something Matt suggested? Do you recall?
I didn't really have anything to do with that. Those guys, I don't mess with them too much on what they want to do as far as personnel goes, who's playing where. If I have a suggestion, I'll make it, but I rarely say anything because I trust those guys. That's why they're there. And those guys came up with the idea of this might be the best for us right now, and moving forward, maybe it changes. We didn't know, but I was comfortable with it. Since it was Bobby, I was comfortable with it because I trust him with wherever we put him.
Listening to some of your comments earlier this week about using a rotation of tight ends, it seems like you haven't really done that much in your past. What's kind of new about that for you?
Well, because when you play on the ball and you're rotating guys in and out, it makes it tough because now they're kind of slowing you down. The officials stop it. We gotta let them sub and all that stuff. Even if it's just 1-for-1, it doesn't matter. Officials aren't gonna look and be like, oh, it's tight end for tight end. You guys are good. So it's easier when one guy just stays in because now you keep a better rhythm. But we'll kind of have a good idea of what we want to do. I feel good about what we got this week.
I was talking to your backup deep snapper, Lucas Gravel, about last week and everything. Turns out he's an interesting story, but he said that at TCU, I think they only punted 8 times. He had 4 of the solo tackles. Is there such a thing as an athletic deep snapper, or what else do you do? I mean, how else do you make an impression aside from being accurate with your snaps?
Well, it starts with that. And then after that, whatever, really those guys, as long as they're doing a good job of staying in their lane and they're giving that effort, they can be disruptive up to the returner on any kind of return. That's valuable. I think over my career, I don't know how many guys I've actually been around that have been dynamic athletes or been involved in the tackle a whole bunch. So I think it's rare. I think the last guy I can think of was Brian Jennings. Might have been the one guy in San Francisco that I remember would play tight end, and long snap. So I'm sure there's been other guys that I didn't know about, but that's the last one I remember.
Is there an optimum body type for that? Because Lucas doesn't seem to fit it.
No, I think when you're a long snapper, if you have, if you're accurate and you have velocity and can get it back there quick and you're good with the protections, I think most special teams coaches, that's ideal starting point for them.
Part of the progression for young players is playing through injuries, learning how to play when you're not 100%. Where do you feel like Devontae is at in that?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. This was not a pain. This is not his fault by any means. Like he was trying to get out there.
Trying to be himself as much as he can.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it with this. I feel good where he's at right now. That is strong, and with the way they have his hand kind of taped up, he's able to have movement and he's able to snag the ball. This is not a pain thing for him at this point. This is, it was more of a stability thing for us. So I think he's in a good place. He proved to me 2 years ago when he played with his back kind of jacked up against Baltimore that, he's tough. He can handle the pain. It is hard sometimes when you're not 100% of when you're a big guy that goes to get the ball. Like how physical can you play? That's the toughest thing to try to figure out.
Having 5 receivers you trust, will this be the toughest decisions for you and Ben Johnson since you've been here as far as allocation of receiver snaps?
No, because if we play the right way and guys are exerting max effort, then when we have different guys in there, it's not a big deal. When you keep a guy in too long and he starts slowing down and he's not playing fast, that's when you have issues.
I'm trying to get you to look past this week, but you're going to have Darnold two games this year, Josh Allen 2 games this year, Watson and Trubisky later this season. Is there a challenge or an advantage to playing against guys in their first, second season?
You're right. I'm not. I'm focused on this week. It's a tough question to really answer. With a couple of those guys I haven't seen play it in our league yet, so I mean, you might catch a game on TV or something, but that doesn't mean anything. So, you know, that's why this week we'll focus on the snaps we have of Darnold, and past that, you know, we'll worry about those other games when we get there.
Devontae out Sunday.
I don't know. We just got to go look at how we're going to do the inactives and special teams and defense and offense, kind of how to put it all together. That's the puzzle you're always trying to figure out.
All right, thanks, guys.